Imagine that coming down the highway, you need to use the picks, and then as soon as you jump on them, all you're feeling is a big squeeze of air, and then literally nothing. Alright guys, so I came out to the bike this morning just to give it a bit of a once over and load everything up. And on my rounds, I generally like to do a pre-start every morning. Basically just a quick glance that everything's operational as it should be, check there's no leaky fork seals or anything, check with your fluid levels and just make sure, give it a quick glance over before you get on the bike. So nothing too serious, only takes a couple of minutes to go through. But this morning I actually found, I don't know whether you can see that with the light, but there is zero fluid in my reservoir for my rear brake. So I'm assuming, I just ran my finger around the back side of that hose there, and there was a little bit of residue there before, but no fluid in the actual cylinder itself. So not sure what's happened there. There's no visible signs of leaking. There's no brake fluid over the swing arm or anything like that. I have no idea where the brake fluid's gone, but I'm going to have to pop into Poland this morning to rectify it. So the plan today was to head over to Auschwitz, but right now I'm heading across to the KTM dealership to pick me up some new brake fluid. Not that I necessarily have to go to the KTM dealer, I just think it might have been a little nick in the line that's had a leak in it, but yeah, it's just super strange. Had fluid in it yesterday, no leaks. Check today, she's gone. Of course there's a bloody KFC right beside it. Alright guys, so just in the KTM dealership now. I ended up fitting a new brake line. So yeah, just at Liberty Motorcycles, Liberty Moto Store they're called. We're in Poland. Really good bunch of guys. If you're around the area, definitely check them out. They've done me a solid on this for sure. The result is there was actually a crack. I thought it was a leak in the hose, so we replaced the hose, but when I took the cylinder off, there was a crack in the back of the cylinder. I don't know how that happened, but it was right along the join of where it actually bolts to the chassis. So ended up taking the cylinder off, and they're putting another cylinder on, and they're pinching that from a brand new 1290 that's in the showroom because they can't order parts for today. So they're just going to rob one off a bike in the showroom and then replace that with one that they order in. So guys, that's the crack, and if you're looking at the bike, that's the way it sits. So you'd never see in behind it the crack there, but yeah, that could have caused us some serious grief. So I'm glad I caught it. Alright, so after all that funny business this morning, we got it sorted. And that there is the result. I can't believe the generosity of them. They didn't charge me for labour, they didn't charge me for brake fluid. Oh well, I kind of already bought the bottle of brake fluid thinking that I was going to have to do it myself, and then they just did it with their own, so now I've got a spare bottle of brake fluid. And yeah, all they charged me for was that, which was under 35 Australian dollars. So you can't get better than that, guys. You can't get better service than that. That's unreal. Right in off the street, and they do that for you. Big props to that KTM dealership, because yeah, I've not known any other bike shop to do something like that. Fantastic. I was supposed to make my way down tonight and end up in Krakow, but unfortunately due to that hiccup this morning, the plan's back a little bit, so I'm just gonna head to Auschwitz tonight, and I'm gonna stay at Auschwitz, and I'll do the touristy thing tomorrow, and then yeah, crack on to Krakow the next day. Alright guys, 6 or more hours in this saddle and you start to go a little bit stir crazy. I learned to always check my bike before I start. Things change on the daily. I mean, to be fair and completely serious, that could have been catastrophic, that. So I'm really glad I caught it when I did. But see those e-bikes everywhere, eh? With big sand tyres, but we're nowhere near sand. Anyway, fuck, I keep losing my train of thought. I'm in Auschwitz. And what I wanted to say, this whole preface of starting this video, is just even driving through town there before. I'm a visual sort of a person and a visual learner. And I definitely just had that feeling, even just driving through town, like, I know this is going to sound corny or whatever, but it's true, you know, like you start to feel the gravity of what happened here. Just seeing all the old buildings, and then that sort of sprigs your mind on to think about what it was here, what it was all about. So I'm just about to go into the War Museum, guys. Even just from the outside, it's a pretty harrowing place. Just looking at it. I mean, I know it's preserved and all the rest of it, but yeah, it's just something feels quite strange about it. So to think that that many people died in such a small area. Yeah. Anyway, let's go and have a look. Man, what a place. It's hell on earth. And even still today, I can't imagine what people would have been thinking jumping off that train. Well, I mean, they were told one thing. A lot of the people that got ushered into the gas chambers, they didn't even know they were going into the gas chambers. You know, they thought they were going for a shower. That's what the kids got told. They said, oh, it must have been such a long train journey. You know, let's head off and we'll get you showered and give you a rest to get ready. And they ushered him straight off into the gas chamber and killed him. And you walk into that gas chamber and it is just, oh, the feeling that that place gives you is unparalleled to anywhere on earth. over 1.1 million people. Just incomprehensible to understand that number until you walk into the museum and they've got dump trucks full of shoes. Probably 2 or 3 dump trucks, 40,000 pairs of shoes. 1.1 million people died. You just look at the enormity of that and it just gives you some perspective. I'm looking at that and I couldn't believe it, you know, like every single pair of shoes in that place was owned by someone, and there's only 40,000 out of 1.1 million in that room. Female hair that they turned into textiles, clothing. I was a little bit dubious about putting this up even because it just didn't feel right. It didn't sit well with me to be broadcasting that, but it is a museum and it's there for education purposes. You know, it's not a place that you're trying to gloat. It's a reminder of how barbaric Nazi Germany actually was and how delusional and sideways their regime was. It's just, yeah, it's beyond belief.